Still being obviously 17 and 18 at the end of this year, it's definitely crazy. Like I've had people like their grandparents come up to me wanting photos, and people as little as 2, 3 years old. I've had a baby. Her mother wanted me to sign her forehead. I was like, that's pretty crazy.
Every generation has its prodigy, but once in a while, someone comes along who doesn't just break records, they reshape the very idea of what's possible. This is one of those stories. At just 17 years old, Gout Gout has taken the track and field world by storm. In a sport where legends are built over decades, he's already shattered records that have stood for more than half a century. While most teenagers are just figuring life out, Gout is racing towards something far bigger than medals or fame. He's chasing what he calls aura, an energy, a presence, a legacy. He's gone from unknown schoolboy to the name on every commentator's lips. But behind the spotlight lies a story of struggle, survival, and unshakable focus. From the dusty soccer fields of Ipswich to the fastest tracks in Europe, this is the rise of the South Sudanese kid who might just become one of the greatest sprinters of all time. Gout Gout was born on December 29, 2007, in Ipswich, Queensland, Australia. His parents, Monica and Bona, had escaped the chaos of civil war in South Sudan. Their journey took them through Egypt, eventually leading them to the safety and promise of Australia. The family name was meant to be Gout, but a mistranslation changed it to Gout.
His name is Gout. It's supposed to be G-U-O-T. When I see people call Gout Gout, I'm not really happy for it.
A word often associated with illness became the name of one of the most electrifying young athletes in modern sports. Rather than running from it, Gout owned it. That name, once a mistake, would soon become famous. Growing up as one of 7 siblings, competition came naturally. But even among his brothers and sisters, Gout's energy was different, focused, determined, quietly intense. His father recalls how Gout would spend hours sprinting barefoot across the backyard, mimicking runners he saw on TV. Speed wasn't just something he had, it was something he loved. As a child, he was known to challenge kids twice his age to races and win. Teachers at school quickly noticed his athleticism during recess. Coaches took him under their wing, realizing this wasn't just a fast kid, this was a future star. Before sprinting, Gout played soccer, fast, almost too fast. Coaches couldn't ignore how easily he outran the ball. Something clicked. He belonged on the track. At just 14, Gout stunned the athletics community by running the 100 meters in 10.57 seconds. That wasn't just fast, it was elite, even by international youth standards. The headlines started, the scouts noticed, and the race to stardom quietly began. His progress wasn't just natural, it was rapid. In training, he would often stay behind after sessions, watching film of himself running. He would study his form, ask questions, and make adjustments. The kid wasn't just gifted, he was obsessed with getting better. In 2023, at age 15, Gout broke Australia's under-18 200-meter record with a time of 20.87 seconds. A year later, in March 2024, he ran a personal best of 10.29 in the 100 meters, winning the Queensland Championships. In April, he took home the U20 national title. By August, he claimed a silver medal at the World U20 Championships in Peru, clocking 20.60 seconds in the 200 meters. Then came November 2024. In the heats of the 200 meters at the Queensland All-Schools Championships, Gout ran 20.29, an Oceanian U20 record. That made him the fastest Australian in the event since 1993. Later, he ran 10.04 in a wind-assisted 100-meter heat, followed by a legal 10.17 to break the national U18 record. But the real headline? The 200-meter final. Gout crossed the line in 20.04 seconds, breaking a 56-year-old national record held by Peter Norman and topping Usain Bolt's best at the same age. His competitors were stunned. Commentators called it the arrival of a new era. While juggling Year 12 classes at Ipswich Grammar School, Gout signed a professional deal with Adidas in October 2024. He began training with Olympic medalist Noah Lyles and coach Lance Brauman, joining an elite circle of sprinters. In June 2025, Gout made his senior international debut at the Golden Spike meet in Ostrava. Racing against seasoned pros, he didn't flinch. Instead, he won, clocking 20.02 seconds and breaking his own national record once again. One race, one victory, one national record, all in his first meet abroad. He's now part of a carefully managed progression toward the 2032 Brisbane Olympics. His team is already planning race strategy, sponsorship deals, and training programs 8 years in advance. For a 17-year-old, this level of career planning is unheard of, but Gout is not your typical teenager. Gout's progression isn't just about natural speed. It's about how he trains, thinks, and adapts. While other young stars burn out, he's growing more dangerous with each season. He doesn't just want to win, he wants to dominate. In April 2025, he ran a wind-assisted 19.84 in Perth, fastest by anyone that year. These times didn't just shock fans, they stunned veterans. Even Usain Bolt took notice, offering words of praise and caution. Bolt said transitioning from junior talent to global champion takes more than speed. It takes vision, the right team, and unbreakable discipline. Gout listened. Despite being one of the youngest names on the circuit, Gout's maturity stands out. He stays grounded, humble, and focused on long-term success. He still attends school, still finishes homework, still trains like he hasn't achieved anything yet. When asked about the pressure of breaking historic records at such a young age, he responds with clarity. "I felt literally free. I had 80 meters left to go, and I thought, let's send it." It's not about showing off. It's about leveling up. His coaches say he has one of the most unique mindsets they've ever seen in a teenager. Calm under pressure, unbothered by hype, locked in. And his fans, they're growing by the day. Young kids in Australia now show up to meets with his name on their shirts. Social media floods with highlights of his races. He's becoming more than an athlete. He's becoming a movement. It's what separates sprinters from legends. When he races, it's not just about winning. It's about feeling unstoppable, about pushing past limits most people don't even dream of. He's not trying to be the next Bolt. He's carving his own lane. The numbers say it all. Gout Gout is the fastest 200-meter sprinter in history for his age. He holds Australia's under 18 and under 20 records. He's medaled on the world stage, and he's already competing and winning against elite senior athletes. But the scariest part? He's only just begun. With the 2025 World Championships in Tokyo on the horizon, the world is finally waking up to his potential. He's not just a rising star. He's a serious threat. He's also aiming for the 2032 Olympics, which will be held in his home country. And by then, he won't just be a participant. He could be the favorite. And beyond the Olympics, Gout has spoken about using his platform to inspire kids in refugee communities around the world. He wants them to know that they don't have to be limited by where they start. It's where they finish that counts. Gout Gout's journey is more than a track story. It's a blueprint for greatness. Born to parents who escaped war, raised in a new land, transformed from a misnamed child into a record-breaking sprinter. He's not just addicted to aura, he's redefining what it means to have it. And if you think this is where the story ends, think again. Because Gout Gout isn't chasing the finish line. He's chasing forever.
He's in the driving seat here, but watch Seville on the near side. It's ever so close. Seville from Thompson.
In Tokyo, with nearly 60,000 fans on their feet and the greatest sprinter ever watching from the stands, this 24-year-old Jamaican just rewrote sprint history in the most dramatic way possible. But before we get to the main event, let's talk about who everyone expected to win. Noah Lyles, the defending world champion and fresh off his Olympic gold from Paris, was feeling confident. Really confident. He told reporters he was in the best form of his entire life. Then there's Keishane Thompson, the Olympic silver medalist who had been absolutely flying this season. His time of 9.75 seconds was the fastest anyone had run in 10 years. And then there was Oblique Seville. At just 5 feet 7 inches tall, he's a full 10 inches shorter than Jamaica's sprint legend Usain Bolt. Most people weren't talking about him as a serious gold medal threat. He was the guy who always seemed to choke when it mattered most. 2 straight fourth-place finishes at World Championships. Last place in the Olympic final just a year ago. But sometimes the quiet ones surprise you. What made this night even more special was who was watching from the VIP box. Usain Bolt himself had been paraded around the stadium earlier, and now he was sitting in the stands, about to watch the first global 100-meter final since his retirement. The connection between Bolt and Seville runs deeper than just representing Jamaica. Seville trains under Glenn Mills, the same coach who guided Bolt to 8 Olympic gold medals. When Seville was just 10 years old, he told his mother he wanted to be trained by Bolt's coach. That dream came true, and now, years later, he was about to race for the biggest prize in sprinting with his hero watching. Jamaica hadn't won a global men's 100-meter title since Bolt's victory at the 2016 Olympics. That's 9 long years of waiting. The pressure on this new generation of Jamaican sprinters was immense. Could anyone fill those massive shoes? For Seville, this journey to the starting line hadn't been easy. At the end of 2018, his father passed away from a suspected heart attack. His dad had been his biggest supporter, his first fan. Seville later said his father never got to see his true talent, and that loss has stayed with him every day since. The last conversation they had was about track and field, with his father telling him to just go out there and do it, because he could. That motivation carried Seville through years of heartbreak on the track. In 2022, he ran the fastest time in the semifinals at Worlds, then finished 4th in the final. In 2023, same story. 4th place again, this time losing a medal by just 0.004 of a second. The 2024 Olympics in Paris were supposed to be his breakthrough moment. He ran the fastest semifinal time, looked ready to finally cash in on his potential, then disaster struck. He injured his hamstring in the final and finished dead last. People started to wonder if Seville just couldn't handle the pressure of big moments. But something changed in 2025. He started beating Noah Lyles head-to-head, first in London, then again in Lausanne. Track expert Donovan Bailey said Seville had owned Lyles all year. Maybe this was finally his time. The semifinals in Tokyo told us everything we needed to know about what kind of final we were in for. All 8 men who made it through had to run under 10 seconds just to qualify. The 3 fastest, Kenny Bednarek, Thompson, and Seville, were separated by just 1/100th of a second. But it was Seville's reaction after winning his heat that caught everyone's attention. As he crossed the line in 9.86 seconds, he raised his finger to his lips in a quiet gesture. He was ready to silence all the doubters. The final was set, but drama struck before the race even began. Letsile Tebogo, the Olympic 200-meter champion from Botswana, jumped the gun and was disqualified. The crowd of 60,000 gasped as one of the medal favorites was eliminated before taking a single step. This opened up the race even more. As the finalists were introduced, you could see the different personalities on display. Lyles raised his hands like a champion boxer and roared at the crowd. Thompson was bouncing around, full of energy and confidence. But Seville stayed calm, ice cool, just waiting for his moment. When the gun finally fired, Thompson exploded out of the blocks like always. The man moves like a freight train when he gets going. Through the first 60 meters, he was in control, looking like he might finally get that gold medal that slipped away in Paris. Lyles was in the mix, trying to work his way into contention. But Bednarek, one of the pre-race favorites, had a terrible start and was already out of medal contention. This is where Seville's patience paid off. All season long, he had struggled with his finish. He would run well for 70 meters, then fade in the final 30. But he had been working on this weakness, and it was about to pay off in the biggest way possible. With 30 meters to go, Thompson was still leading, but his form was starting to break down. That's when Seville made his move. He had been sitting in third, just waiting for the right moment. As Thompson's technique got sloppy, Seville stayed smooth and powerful. With 20 meters left, he pulled even. With 10 meters left, he was in front. The moment Seville crossed the finish line, he knew. He ripped his racing vest right off his chest and beat his hands against his body in pure joy. The clock showed 9.77 seconds, a new personal best, and fast enough to beat everyone behind him. Thompson held on for silver in 9.82, while Lyles took bronze in 9.89, his best time of the season. But the most powerful image wasn't on the track. Up in the VIP box, Usain Bolt was going absolutely wild. The man who had dominated sprinting for a decade was celebrating like a superfan as his countrymen brought the 100-meter title back to Jamaica. It was the first Jamaican 1-2 finish in a global 100-meter final since Bolt and Johan Blake did it at the 2012 Olympics. Seville was emotional after the race. He said he felt amazing that the gold was coming home to Jamaica, and that he had proved he was a true competitor with the heart of a champion. He admitted he had been panicking during the semifinals, still struggling with those finishing problems that had haunted him all season. But he said he had finally perfected that weakness, and he knew if he could execute his finish in the final, nobody would catch him. The significance of competing in front of Bolt wasn't lost on him either. Seville said it was tremendous to race in front of his hero, knowing that both Bolt and their shared coach Glenn Mills were proud of him. He had proved right in front of the greatest sprinter ever that he was a champion too. Lyles revealed after the race that an ankle injury had disrupted his entire season. He came to Worlds with only 4 races over 100 meters under his belt, which isn't nearly enough preparation for this level of competition. But he was still confident about defending his 200-meter title later in the championships.
It's all about getting everything right. You know what I mean? It's never just easy. It's always easier when you're younger because I was there. I used to do great things when I was young, but
17-year-old Australian sprinter Gout Gout has become one of the most talked-about athletes in the world, with a string of record-breaking runs and a personality that mixes humility with bold confidence. His story has fans calling him the next Usain Bolt. But beyond the hype, there's a deeper question. How does a teenager from Ipswich, Queensland end up rewriting record books and drawing headlines across the globe? For Gout, the 100-meter dash doesn't quite cut it. I definitely like 200 more than 100 because 100 is a bit too short for me, he explained before making his European debut at the Golden Spike Meet in Ostrava. You get the start, and then you're already at the finish line. I really like getting out, hitting my top speed, and holding it to the finish line. So 200 is great, and I love it. That preference has already brought historic results. At just 16, Gout clocked 20.04 seconds in the 200 meters, breaking Peter Norman's legendary Australian record from 1968. That performance also made him the fastest 16-year-old ever over the distance, even faster than Usain Bolt at the same age. By 2025, he lowered the record again, storming to 20.02 in Ostrava in front of a stunned European crowd. It wasn't just another national record, it was a statement. Gout was here, and he was ready to test himself against the world's best. Although he loves the 200-meter more, Gout's 100-meter performances can't be ignored. In December 2024, he ran 10.04 in the heats of the Australian All-Schools Championships.
The Queenslander, he hasn't even touched the ground yet, the young man, and he's boomed away here in the heats, and he's gone. 10.05! How do you do, Gout Gout? That is
the 4th fastest U18 time in history. He followed that up with 10.17 in the final, breaking the Australian under-18 record. A few months later, he dipped under 10 seconds with a 9.99 run, though wind-assisted. It didn't count as legal, but it showed his raw power. At just 17, Gout had put himself in conversations usually reserved for seasoned pros. Gout's rise isn't limited to one distance. He also owns the Oceanian record in the 200 meters, a 400 meters best of 46.20, and national records across multiple age groups. He even won silver at the 2024 World Athletics U20 Championships in Lima, Peru, proving he could compete internationally. Each performance has only amplified the buzz. Journalists, commentators, and legends of the sport have all chimed in. Former Australian champion Matt Shervington has already called him the greatest sprinter his country has ever produced. Usain Bolt himself has taken notice, warning Gout that while talent is clear, the jump from junior to senior level is the real test. What makes Gout's story extraordinary is how young he was when he began smashing senior-level benchmarks. After breaking Norman's national record at 16, he admitted, "These are adult times and me, just a kid. I'm running them. I didn't expect it to be that fast. I thought maybe next year or the year after that." It's rare for an athlete so young to process his success with such level-headedness. That maturity has impressed Sebastian Coe, president of World Athletics, who described Gout as the real deal, but also urged caution. "This is a rare and precious talent that will need nurturing and protecting," Coe said. "When you run like Gout, comparisons to Usain Bolt are inevitable.